Our next action item is going to be about Weeks of Welcome, our Weeks of Welcome event. We will discuss Weeks of Welcome and brainstorm ideas for events that we would like to add to the first week of the fall 2020 semester. This is a discussion item with a possible action item, but right now we're just discussing it to get some ideas out here. So can I get a motion to open this item up for discussion? Anyone can.
I motion to open this item up for discussion.
Awesome. Can I get a second?
I second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. We are opening this item up for discussion. This item is not an item that I'm familiar with right now. We're going to look at some of the things for Weeks of Welcome and we're going to talk about it. One, I'm going to give the floor to you. Do you know exactly what the school is doing for Weeks of Welcome?
Yes, so currently, just real quick, the way that everything looks is the first week we're doing ASG, obviously, student services and academic affairs. The second week is when it gets a little bit more jam-packed. We're having a student, the food drive, obviously on Wednesday, a student leadership program, which is being put on by our student leaders, and that those advocates in gender, LGBT, and also student leadership. And then we have overall like a financial aid presentation, work study, so students who would like to also get information and start applying for work study. And the last one is a transfer workshop by Lesra and Carol.
Okay, and so to give the rest of our attendees who are members of the public some insight into what we're talking about. So the Weeks of Welcome, if you're a new student especially, but Weeks of Welcome is something that the campus does pretty much every fall semester, sometimes in the spring, but I think primarily fall, right? It's at the beginning of the semester and they have like almost informative, inclusive events centered around student life. So they talk about different elements of student life. They give opportunities, resources through events. As we all know, this is going to be different this semester because we're doing it virtually. So this is what we're discussing right now, is to see how ASG wants to also contribute to the Weeks of Welcome. So does anyone have any ideas about events that they want to do, which could be good for Weeks of Welcome? Anything you guys have researched lately? Thought, let's try it. If not, we can take some suggestions, but Joy, do you wanna be acknowledged or?
Well, I'm not entirely sure what I could be adding to this right now because can you explain a little bit more about what Weeks of Welcome, like what the constraints are for what we can do and what our involvement can be as ASG?
Sure. So actually, you know what? We actually have, I'll do one better. We have, I saw a raised hand by our Director of Student Affairs, I believe he is, right, Juan? That's what Blake is, our director. Blake, would you like to take the floor and let everybody know what Weeks of Welcome is all about?
Sure, I would. So if you think about it, anybody who comes to college, whether it's your first time to school or you've coming back from a long time over a summer break, winter break, one of the things we try to do is welcome everybody back. The big idea here is, yeah, normally in person, we'd host things like a barbecue, we'd host things like cultural gatherings for people of certain affinity groups. So it'd be like a LGBT welcome, an African-American student welcome, Latino student welcome. We do things like a women's empowerment group, and then you get to meet and network with folks. There's the opportunity to learn more about the ASG and then student organization fair. So basically what this looks like is welcome. So getting people a really formal, kind of warm extension to being part of the campus, and also getting them connected to you all and to your student organizations and to the community. So anything you could think of that would help to make someone feel welcome. I don't know how else to say it other than through that. And then also if there's a way to get them connected to your student organizations and to campus life, that's essentially the purpose of what it is we're doing. To Joy's point about constraints, the thing would be, obviously we can't be in person. Other than that, anything goes. So yeah, any brainstorm would be good.
Yeah, thank you, Blake, for that. Before I get into the rest of the board comments, I did see another member of the public hand raised. Effendi, did you want to make a comment? You had your hand raised.
Yeah, initially, the same thing, we have to make like brainstorming because initially, as he mentioned, in the first semester, they will give you cookies, water, and then they will direct you where to go, where to find the places. All done because now, due to COVID-19, we cannot do that now. So the only option we have to welcome is through Zoom. Then how, in which way we can attract many students to join the Zoom, or that's we have to think over it. And then also, at that time we are spending more money at that time. That money, how again we can help them, the students, maybe like those who attended, maybe like if to transmit our idea, our whatever the college want to give the information, they may, if they attend maybe like for 3 hours or 4 hours, 6 hours, we should give them like some credit to buy maybe for bookstore to help them in that way. So that will attract them to join to the Zoom meeting fully. That's one way of helping the student. That's a way what I think. There's also many ways like this. We can attract them to join the Zoom meeting, and then they should know also what is the resource available due to this COVID-19, like tutoring, like adding class or dropping the class, all those information they should know, because of not knowing the real problem, the student, some of them, they get W for rest of their life. Is by not knowing what they're supposed to do. That's why this student body should have very too much bonding with the students, even though we cannot see them face to face.
Right. Thank you so much for your public comment. We appreciate hearing from you. Before I get into the next public comment, James, I do see your hand, but I have to ask to see if we want to extend the discussion. We have reached the 4-minute mark for this item. Did anyone want a motion to extend? And if yes, by how many minutes or how long?
I motion to extend this discussion by 4 minutes.
Minutes again. Can I get a second?
I second.
Okay, the motion has carried. We are going to extend our discussion for the Weeks of Welcome events action item into 4 minutes. So I'm going to start the timer for that, and I'm going to acknowledge our other member of the public, James. Would you like to go ahead?
Hi. One of the things that I think might be useful is maybe a Q&A group on how to navigate through the school's website and use the library resources on there, because I don't think it's something somebody's going to be able to just figure out on their own necessarily if they've never used it. I know I had to have a teacher actually show me how to actually properly navigate through it and find stuff like peer-reviewed articles and stuff like that to do research and so forth, and just having that shown to me was a big help. And I think maybe if we had and I'm not just saying the library, but even just being able to find out how to contact certain members of faculty and so forth, and just being able to, because we're in an online environment, I think that might be a good little meet and greet type, here's how to do things using the online and resources we have.
Yeah, thank you for that. So that's a good idea on how we can provide events centered around resources. So thank you, James, for that. I definitely think that's a great idea. What about events that center around community and stuff like connecting with our student body? I thought maybe a good idea could be having one big, networking event where we just invite our students to come in and connect with other students. Then maybe we have breakout sessions where members of the board will be leading those breakout sessions, maybe icebreakers of sorts, tell us how you've been doing during the quarantine, or, what's your favorite movie so far, or something to that effect, where we're still just, we want to connect. I feel like an important thing that we're missing during the quarantine is that connection. And it's not impossible. We just haven't been using the tools given to us to be able to do it as effectively as we could, you know? So again, I do want to remind the members of the public, those people that I see down there that are not board members, that this is the time for you to chime in. If you have any idea of events that you want to see that you didn't see yet, tell us. You know, it's not impossible. We just got to get some things working, and we can possibly be the ones to do that event for our student body. So I don't see any hands at this time from the public. So if anybody from the board wants to make a comment for a discussion, go right ahead.
So building on what you said about the job fair, what sorts of things, do you want to include clubs? Do you want to have a separate club fair and then a job fair? And then what opportunities are you, do you know of and that you're willing to extend and make available to the student body? I know that the position for the board is one of those jobs, obviously, but what other things are opportunities for our students, do you know?
Yeah, so that's a good question. We do have a career center on campus that may or may not be doing a job fair. I don't know. But we could definitely reach out to them and see if they want to partner with us for an event to talk about job opportunities on campus. And then Club Day. It's funny that you mentioned that. Is anyone in the meeting currently? I asked earlier, but I didn't see anybody. Anybody representing a club? I didn't see anybody. So Club Day is a great one that we could do, but we'd have to figure out what kind, like, how do we want to do it? Do we want to just invite all the clubs in and give them time to talk about their club, and then like everybody presents, give us like 5 things about your club, you know, we'll tell them what to, you know, give us, and, you know, how do we want to do that if we have a club day? That's what we're discussing, events.
I feel like we could have a main floor where all of these club representatives could come and present their club. They have 2 minutes to present it, and then we can have breakout rooms for the members that want to join those clubs to message us separately, and then we can place them in those breakout rooms, and they can have a conversation with them. And then it could be sort of like a 5-minute to 10-minute window where they can have that discussion, move back to the main room, and they can circulate. And that could be like a couple-hour thing, because usually club fairs are like the whole day, or maybe more than like 4 hours kind of thing, right? So I was just thinking that we could do a 2-hour club fair where we circulate members of the student body around to different clubs to see what they want to sign up for. And then we can have our club representatives make sure to keep a list or a record, a documentation of all of the comments, even if they didn't join the club, all of the comments that the student body made. And we can use that, we can utilize that to help us promote different other events through social media that we might do in the future, etc.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a great idea, Joy. Honestly, that sounds like something we could do. The timeline, the only thing that I would have a question on is to be directed at Juan. The time of our events, how long are the events that we have for the Weeks of Welcome on average? Is it like hour to an hour, or does it matter? You're muted.
Darn it. So they're pretty much an hour.
Okay.
But if you guys wanted to do club day, we could do 2 or 3 club days. You know, one that'll start at 1, another one that'll start at like 2, and then at 3. So depending on what you guys want to do, there's a lot of flexibility.
Okay, definitely. So right now we've got at least a club day that we want to work on and get together and outline. Did anyone else have any other suggestions of ideas? We did have a resource day, but I think letting our career center take on letting us know what the job opportunities are other than the ones we have, like our open positions. One, can you remind us of a good idea, maybe of an event that we did in the previous semesters that could be good?
I mean, all of your guys's, I mean, it's just difficult because we used to have tables, and
yeah,
you know, ASG would be at all the different tables. So there, I mean, the opportunities are endless. So, you know, don't always think that we always have to do the same thing. But we can have, hey, meet with ASG, a couple of sessions, maybe 30 minutes, and then hopefully we can also recruit during those info sessions.
okay. Yeah, for sure. Okay. How do we, and let me check the timer, because I think we are out of time for this discussion item. So at this point in time, we currently have the idea of organizing a club day. So I believe that would be a part of the motion if we want to have a club day. We could table the rest of the discussion for our next meeting. I don't know, when does Weeks of Welcome, what is it tentatively scheduled for?
It is August 31st all the way to September 11th.
Oh, so we have a lot of time, guys. We have a lot of time. Like 3 weeks almost, right? Like just about.
It's well, 3
It's
weeks till it
fluid.
happens, but yes.
Yeah, so 2 full weeks to have 2 more meetings. Okay, so at this point in time, do we at least want to move forward with Club Day? If so, I need a motion.
I motion to put the idea of Club Day on the table for further discussion in the next few meetings.
Okay, thank you for that. Can I get a second?
I second the motion.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. We're gonna move to a vote. Just give one a second.
Go for it.
All right, so I'm gonna start down the list as I normally do. Joy, Vice President of Marketing, are you for or against the idea of outlining Club Day and possibly another for the next meeting?
I'm for it.
For it, okay. And our Chief Justice Francis, are you for or against?
I am for.
Awesome. And then Renee, our Director of Student Resources, are you for or against?
I vote in favor of it.
You're in favor? Awesome, awesome. Yeah. Great, okay, so I'm gonna ask Juan for the vote.
Madam President, the motion passes. 3 yeses or 3 fours, and 0 against Club Day.
Awesome, so the motion is carried. We will talk more about Club Day and get that outlined. And we will also possibly have another event in the next meeting as we look over things we wanna do. All right, thank you everyone.